When making papers for digital scrapbooking, having textures on those papers is vital to making those papers look realistic and have depth to them, and really give them some quality. And so we're going to talk about creating textures. And I have here a photo that I took at my local scrapbooking store. I just headed off with my camera there one day after work. And the ladies thought I was nuts, and that was okay. I just let them think that as I walked around the store taking pictures. Now, you do not want to take pictures of fabrics with patterns such as flowers on them. Those may be copyright. This is a fabric that has a common weave to it, and some weaves of fabrics may be copyrighted, but many of the common ones I believe are okay to use. And here is a sample of leather. I took a picture of leather, so you can take pictures of many things. Here is a picture of some wood that I took out vacationing, and I'm always making my guys stop and wait for me to take pictures everywhere, and they're so good to me to be patient with me, always waiting for me. I'm going to show you a quick way, not the preferable way, but a quick way that you can just use this image right here to make texture. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it while I play with it. I'm going to resize it to fit my document, and I have here a solid colored layer that I've already created to play with. I'm going to change the blending mode, and you can see as I scroll through the blending modes by hitting the down arrow key on my keyboard, you can arrive at a variety of textures by just doing this, and this may be the look that you want for your layout. This particular one here might be great for a baby layout. Makes it feel like a nice fuzzy warm blanket. But I'm going to go ahead and show you some other better ways that you can utilize textures. The best way to do textures is to create a seamless tile with them. I have a filter I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to show you how it works, that I generally use. But before I do that, I want to share with you a technique to manually create seamless tiles without any plugins. In this way, you'll better understand how seamless tiles work. And so what I'm going to do first is I want to go to my Edit drop-down menu and show you a little trick. Go to the Preferences and Units and Rulers. And here where it says New Document Preset Resolutions, I've set both of mine to 300. This one for screen resolution was previously 72. But however, because I'm a digital scrapbooker and I want everything to be good for print quality, I like having that default as 300. Next, I'm going to go to the rectangular drop-down menu, and then I'm going to, the rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to set the mode to a fixed size. And here I have a 500 by 500. To make a seamless tile, it needs to be square. And you see here that all the photos that we take, as common knowledge, are all rectangular, but the seamless tiles need to be square, and so we're going to have to adjust with that. I'm going to go ahead and simply select an area. It's going to be a small area. You can make these much bigger, whatever choice you want. I could have picked any part of the wood here, and I'm going to either press Control C on my keyboard or go to the Edit drop down menu and choose Copy, and it's not copying because I'm on the wrong layer. Edit drop-down menu, and Copy. And now that selection is on my clipboard. So I'm going to go to the File drop-down menu, New, and then Image from Clipboard. And because I set those preferences to both 300, I'm going to be ensured that this new file is going to be a resolution of 300, so I don't have to worry about that. When you select this image from Clipboard, the size of the new file is going to be the size of what is on your clipboard. And since we set ours 500 pixel by 500 pixel, that is the size that's going to be created when I hit this. And so here is our new file. And I'm going to suggest that it might be a good idea to either use some of the healing tools to get rid of some of these lumps, or the clone, or whatever tool you are comfortable with, because these are going to be visible and be repeated on the page, and that's not really going to look good. There may be some instances where you will want that, but see, I got rid of all the rather large clumping. Now I'm going to go to the Filter drop-down menu, Other, and then Offset. And what you want to do with these settings is put half of the pixels in each of them of what your document is. And you will remember, you may recall, our document was 500 pixels. So I'm going to put 250 in each of those and choose Wraparound. And now in the preview you can already see that this is working correctly. So I'm going to click OK. And as you zoom in, you see now that there's some lines. What this has done, if you can, I'm going to hit undo. Imagine that this is divided into quarters, and this is section 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Where these sections meet, they match, and so what we're going to do is take this edge of this piece and move it down to the lower right hand corner. So then we're going to take this piece that also matches and move it up to the upper left hand corner. We're just going to switch these two. That way these edges are going to be on the outside. And then we're going to also do the same with these two. We're going to flip these two, and now all these inner edges that are currently matching are going to be on the outside. And that way, when this tile is repeated as a pattern, the edges are going to match. So I hope that makes sense. Going to go ahead now and reapply that offset. But in this case now, that what used to be the outside edges are now on the inside, and you can see that they don't match, so we're going to have to make them match. The easiest way to do that is to go ahead and paste again what's on your clipboard and move it down a layer. And now what I want to do is get my eraser tool and go ahead and draw little zigzags up and down right where those are. I may not want to bring that little bump back in, but we can fix that. And what I'm doing is, if you look over here in this layer palette, I have kind of a plus sign, and it's allowing this paper below to show through. And so you can erase as much as you need to erase. If you want, you can go ahead and grab your clone tool like this, and I'm going to hold down my Alt key and select some paper here and go ahead and cover up some of those bad areas. Of course, since we're working with vertical lines, you would probably want to be a little bit more careful than what I'm doing here. But this is just to give you a general idea of how this works. And so now we have a seamless tile because the outside edges are matching, and we've messed with the inside area to make it all match. The next step is to make this a pattern. And since my bounding box is all the way around the outside edge, you could hit Control A and select everything, but since I'm selecting my entire document, I don't really need to do that. Go to the Edit drop-down menu, Define Pattern, and I could name this if I wanted to name it Wood 2 or whatever, and hit Enter. Now I'm going to go back to our original document that I was working in to play with it. Let's hit Control D to get rid of that selection. I'm going to make this invisible, and let's hit the Create New Adjustment Layer icon, choose Pattern, and it's going to automatically come up with our last pattern that we made. And you can see here that might make a nice pattern there, but you can play with the patterns by moving the slider until you get something that you like. Now you can then use this in the same way as I showed you before. Let's make this visible, our solid colored layer, and apply various blending modes to it to get a really nice looking paper. You can also remember lower the opacity on it. And there's another step, another thing that you can do, but I'm going to wait to show that to you till we get to another step. Let's go ahead now and show you how to do this using the filter. Now that you understand how the tiles, seamless tiles, are made and how they're rearranged, I want to show you an internet page. If you just type in a web search, as I have found this here myself, for simple filters, you're going to quickly find this page of free filters. And if you scroll down, what we want is the quick tile filter, which is here. It tells you about it, and I believe the download links are somewhere. I'm not sure where they are. There they are. You click right on the image and it's going to download that filter. And let's take a peek at installing filters. Of course, I've got my plugin tutorial, but I'm going to show you this really quickly. As I've mentioned before, I don't recommend dropping your filter plugins into your Adobe folders. Create another folder. This one is right there in my Documents folder, and these are my filters that I have that I like to use. If you don't want one of them to load to save on RAM, you can just type a tilde before it and resave the name. And then if you want it to load the next time you open it, you would just take that tilde off. And after you get those somewhere on your hard drive, you're going to go down to the Edit drop-down menu and Preferences once again, and choose Plugins. And you'll see here that it gives you additional plugin folders, and you're going to navigate to and choose that folder that you have all your plugins in, and it's going to be directed then to install everything that's in that folder. And once they're installed, you need to restart your Photoshop elements, and you're going to see them down here at the bottom of your filter drop down menu, and you can see here I have that simple filter for the quick tile loaded and ready to go. And let me show you how that works. I'm going to choose my rectangular marquee tool, and this time I'm going to choose fixed aspect ratio, and the default is 1:1, which means it's going to for every 1 inch on the top side, it's going to have 1 inch on the right side. In other words, it's going to create a square, which is what we need. So I'm going to go ahead, and this time I'm going to draw a much larger square than we did before, and I'm just not going to get into that little bump there. I'm going to hit Control J on my keyboard. Let me make these other layers invisible, and so now we have here what we're going to be working with to make our pattern. And since I'm aware, and now this is just personal preference, that these lines are going to show up in a repetitive manner when we tile the new pattern that we're creating, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those by well, we can use this a spot healing, and I don't think that that's going to work because my brush is too big. Let's hit undo. I'm gonna I don't have to sample with that one. I would sample with the other healing one I've forgotten, but you can just draw a line, and it's going to try fixing that line. With the healing brush tool, you have to sample it and choose yourself where you want it to take to go over it, and that's the one I actually prefer using. Either one will work. And let's just get rid of some of these things that I see that are going to be repetitive, that I might not like on my image. And there's some areas here. This is working very much like the clone tool. You can use that tool if you would prefer. And I'm going to go ahead and get this knot out of here, and this knot, because these things are just going to really show up. And there's one more here, and you can clean it up as you wish. Okay, so now that I've fixed that, what I'm going to do is hold down my Control key and click on the Layer in the Layers palette. Now I'm going to go to the Filter drop down menu and then find my simple quick tile filter that I've installed and click on it. And it's going to come up with a sample here, and if you like the sample, go ahead and click OK, and it is going to automatically arrange those 4 squares or 4 quarters, and it's also going to go ahead and magically blend in those areas in the middle. And it's just a really cool, really fast way to make a seamless tile. And then I can go to the Edit drop-down menu. The Define Pattern from a selection is grayed out. That sometimes happens even if I would go ahead and select that layer. It's still grayed out. Sometimes it's not. So what I'm going to do to fix that is choose that rectangular marquee tool again and very carefully make that same selection, being careful not to go out into the transparent area. And now when I go to the Edit drop-down menu, I can choose Define Pattern from Selection, and I might name this, I guess, Wood 3, and press Deselect. And now let's put this into use. Just as we did before, we're going to do a new layer, choosing Pattern. And you can see here I have a really nice wood texture. If I make the pattern really small, you can see, or really large, you can see the various choices that we would have. And so I might choose something about this size, and now I've got a great texture. Now let me show you, we showed you how you can use blending modes to use this, but let me show you another way that's a little bit better. I can right click on this layer and choose Simplify, and then I'm going to go to convert it to black and white. And you can use the blending modes now, and it would be, of course that's not a good one to play with, and it would also be very, very effective, much more effective in black and white. However, if you take this one layer and change it to a PSD file with just that layer on it and save it as a new document, another way, and even better way, to add texture to your page then is to utilize that using the Filter drop-down menu, Texture, and open that texturizer. You can see here I've already got it applied, but if you use this flyout arrow to load a texture, and I put this texture right here on my desktop, it has that one layer on it with that one tiled texture on it, and I'm going to click Open, and you can see then it's called Textured Wood, and you can play with the scaling. Going to make it smaller so we can see more of the what the entire paper would look like. And you can change the relief, and you can see it's got some really great little rough textures to the paper. Why it's important to make these with a seamless tile is because when you move this scaling, it is actually tiling this across the page. And so you can see here I have no lines. If I had not tiled that, I might have lines up and down on this page that are visible. And then when you get something that you like, you click OK. And now you can see I have a really cool, it was wood, but it no longer looks like wood. It looks like almost like a flecked paper. Maybe even like I made it out of concrete. I want to share with you too how you can utilize this in one other way. I've got a little heart shape here, and I'm going to place it under my texture and do a Control G. And you can see there that now I've just made my heart shape into wood, and then you could go on to make this a element by adding need to get to the right area by adding a bevel to it, and you could color it or whatever you want to do. And so you can also let's ungroup this layer, ungroup. I can also do a new pattern adjustment layer and choose my pattern, and then click Control G to group them. Now I'm going to double click on this layer icon and change the size of the wood, and so you can really get some different things to texturize even shapes. And so if you have any questions, I hope you've learned a lot today, but if you do have any questions, certainly ask me in the forums and I'll do my best to try to answer it, and I hopefully have covered this well for you. Now get out there and annoy your family by taking pictures of textures everywhere.